Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to discuss the Dance Moms reunion that happened at the beginning of this month of May. And in this video, I kind of just want to break down the different sections. I want to discuss the format of the reunion, and I want to go into the conversation that the moms and the girls had. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and discuss this Dance Moms reunion. Okay, so this reunion begins with the girls introducing themselves, how old they are, and telling the viewers that they remember them when they were this age or they remember them by this. So Chloe is 22, but we remember her when she was 9. Brooke is now 25, she's 26, but at the time of filming she was 25. But the viewers remember her when she was 12. Kalani was 23, or she's 23 now, but the viewers may remember her when she was 12 and a very talented dancer and still is. JoJo is 20, but the viewers may remember her when she was 10. Or if you watch Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, I think she was like 9. Kendall is also 20, but the viewers may remember her when she was 8. Paige is 23, but we may remember her when she was 10. Okay, so then it goes to a montage of introducing Abby's studio, and here are some of the moments that they showed. They showed some winning moments between the girls and the moms. No, no, no crying. Abby can't, like, Abby not enjoying the moms or trying to stand the moms. Christy versus Melissa. Holly breaking down in season 5. Christy calling Abby out for picking on the children. Kelly leaving the studio after Abby's treatment of her and her children. Everybody's replaceable. Abby wanting to be like Kalani. Abby using JoJo just because she's fierce. Abby being served papers and getting ready for a court date. Abby losing interest in the dance, the show. So then it moves on to showing the couple of days before the reunion. The girls filmed some footage on their own. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more, but this is what they included. So the girls are all nervous and anxious, and they kind of meet each other. Some of them meet each other at the airport as they're going from the East Coast to the West Coast. Then we see them meet each other in the hotel room, and then we get to the day of filming the reunion. So this day, all the moms are in these cars, they're with their daughters, and some of the producers are like, "Oh my God, the girls are so like much older, like the camera crew and stuff." And let's get into how they came into the reunion. So Jess and JoJo come in first, and this kind of shocked me because I was like, "Y'all weren't even there for 2 seasons. You were there for a season and a half." So Chloe comes in and she meets Jess and JoJo, and I think they were trying to be like messy because I know Christy and JoJo has some drama. But Chloe comes in and she talks about how she's 6 weeks from graduating from Pepperdine, which at the moment of filming this video, she did graduate. So congratulations, Chloe. She explains that Christy isn't going to be here for this because she's in the process of filming something else and she can't make it. Anyway, Brooke, Paige, and Kelly come in, and Brooke says that she's nervous because her and JoJo have some social media attention. JoJo, although, is fangirling extra hard. Like, simmer down, sis. They aren't going anywhere. You're in the room with them. Like, you ain't gotta be that crazy. Kendall and Joe comes in, and Kendall looks great, by the way. Her and Chloe are actually wearing the same dress, but in different colors. Kendall states that she's in college and it's been a very interesting experience for her. Lastly to come in is Kalani and Kira, and the girls hype Kalani up. Kira states that she thinks she's nervous to meet Kelly because her and Kelly both have strong personalities. And the last time they met was when, the girls then decide to take pictures and they go on live. And this is where we get into this next big segment of is when the fans begin to ask, where's Mia? Where's Maddie? Where's Kenzie? Okay, so the girls went on live and the fans are asking like, "Hey, where were these girls who didn't come to the reunion?" So JoJo tells all the girls maybe they should make a unified post and post all together with the picture. And JoJo came up with the response of grateful for this day, for everyone wondering about the few people missing. Everyone was invited, but only some wanted to be here. And I thought that was a great response. Like it deaded the situation like, hey, we're excited. If you're wondering why some people were here, everybody was invited, but we were the ones that came. But then the girls began to discuss why some cast members aren't there. And it kind of felt a little sassy to me. I also wanted to state that something that I noticed was when they all got together, Kendall and JoJo were given champagne flutes, but I think they would have water in them. But the rest of the cast were actually drinking champagne, like they were drinking alcohol. So I think it's interesting that they would take alcohol from the producers, knowing that the producers are giving you alcohol to film this. Even if they're like below the legal limit, they're still drinking on a set. I think it's because it's for them to be less coherent and for them to be more tapped into their emotions. But I'll bring it up later. They do a quick little shout out to my little Kendall, Jill's little Kendall. It was cute. So they move on, and the producers state that they need Brooke, Paige, Chloe, and Kendall to the stage. And Paige is nervous, so the girls do their iconic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chant. All the girls are feeling nervous and anxious, but again, they look gorgeous. Their outfits are beautiful, hair, makeup, everything is like everyone looked good. While they're on stage, Kelly and Jill both come out and they're like adjusting the girls' outfits. And I'm like, wow, they're really falling into the trope of a dance mom. Kendall basically says, once a dance mom, always a dance mom. So as the girls are sitting there getting ready, we have the person that's going to be asking all the questions, getting into the tea. Brian Stinson, who was the producer of Dance Moms, the same man that Abby Lee Miller calls Satan. Hmm, interesting. So he brings up the fact that, there's not a lot of the girls who are on the cast are here. Now, do I think that the production went out and asked everybody to be here? No. Brooke and Paige basically had a very compassionate answer. They were like, some of the girls may still be processing and they may not want to be at the reunion, and they just decided to close this chapter of their life, and there's nothing wrong with it. Now, Kendall says that they're not here, so it is what it is. But the issue with what Kendall's statement was that she thinks that those girls who weren't here felt that they didn't need to be here. Like they felt like they were too good to be here. And my issue with that is like if the girls who didn't weren't there, so the ones that I'm gonna speak about, Maddie, Nia, and Kenzie, if they decided not to go, that is their right. They have every right. The argument that a lot of fans were like, well, they need to be grateful for the show and blah blah blah. And these girls, whenever they've talked about their experiences, any of the girls in general, not just Maddie, Nia, and Kinsey, but all the girls, they have said how grateful they are for the show, and they're grateful for the amazing opportunities they have, the lifestyle that they live now, and that's it. That's all. This is where Kendall gets a little messy for me. Kendall says that the girls wanted to make headlines and change the discussion about the Dance Moms reunions about them. And I disagree with her because at this present moment that you guys are filming, you're talking about them. So where in that explanation are these girls searching for attention? In the back, and I'm gonna call this like the waiting room. Interesting. There's a dance. Anyway, but in like the waiting area, um, Jojo and Kalani are back there with all the moms, and Jojo thinks that, the girls just want to erase the fact that they were on Dance Moms. And again, this is a statement that I think is false or just not proven because, as mentioned before, the girls have praised the show and the opportunities so many times. So for that, Jojo, I'm going to call Cap Jojo. Cap. producer Stinson, Messy Stinson Boots, moves on to the fact that Brooke, Paige, Chloe, Nia, or Brooke, Paige, Chloe, and Kendall all hung out with Nia, Maddie, and Kinsey the night before they filmed the reunion. I think Messy Brian is just a little upset because all the original Dance Mom girls plus Kendall got together and he didn't have cameras, he didn't have any footage of it and he couldn't put it out himself and he couldn't monetize on it. That's why you're really mad. Now from what wasn't shown and even talked about is the fact that Nia had planned a surprise birthday party for Paige because they were all going to be in California. But Maddie has her own house and it's really big, so they decided to do it there. And I believe Melissa was just there because she's she's pretty cool with all the girls. Stinson then moves on and he's like, "So was everyone in the building invited to this little get together?" And the girls are all like, "Are you talking about like up here?" He's like, "No, like everybody in the building." Basically talking about JoJo and Kalani. And he wants to know, was there an ulterior motive as to why you guys hung out? Like, why wasn't, Kalani, basically implying why wasn't Kalani and JoJo invited? And Kimball states that she thought it was weird because they all know each other. But again, Nia planned this out. Kalani is in the back with JoJo and the moms in the waiting room. Kalani's in the back, and she says that Melissa set the whole thing up where all the girls got together, and she thinks it's so that the girls wouldn't badmouth Maddie and Kinsey. So Kelly, being the little messy friend that she is, FaceTimes Christy. Now, like I said earlier, Christy's not here at the reunion. So I don't know why she's giving her 2 cents anyway, because you're not here to speak. You got phoned in. But anyway, so she says that Melissa planned this whole thing so the girls can be told what not to say. She wanted to end any issues with discussing the Ziegler girl. And she says, she specifically says that anyone who thinks differently is delusional. Her words. And she continues by stating that, Melissa is threatened by JoJo because she's more successful than Maddie and Kinsey. Kira also jumps on this bashing Melissa train. And she says that as much as Melissa doesn't like drama, she's involved with it all the time. Now, Kalani states that if it was her and JoJo, she would have invited all the girls. And she says she's not upset. It's just the principle. But it sounds like you're a little upset, sis. Are you a little bitter? These girls live in different areas, different time zones. This was probably the only time that they were ever going to get together to see each other for a while. That's the time that they wanted to celebrate. And who's to say that Nia was like, well, Brooke and Paige might not be close with Kalani and JoJo. They might not be friends with them. And this is when, in the middle of the reunion, I realized this is not a Dance Moms reunion. This is a Dance Moms Girls reunion. Because for a Dance Moms reunion, I would think it would be the moms talking about behind the scenes drama and all of that. But let's get on to this next section, which is about Chloe Lukasiak. And yes, I pronounced her name right, Lukasiak. So Messy Stinson then moves on and brings up the fact that Chloe almost wasn't going to be coming to the reunion. And this shocks a lot of the girls. They're like, huh? Surprise Pikachu face? Chloe says that she was really hesitant to go back to discussing this rivalry that Abby had created between her and Maddie. And Chloe says, I really want to straighten the record for how Abby made me feel with this rivalry. So they show clips of the Maddie versus Chloe, Abby talking about the fact that Maddie and Chloe are great because they push each other, like they really push each other. So I get where she's coming from, but like that's when it naturally occurs. Abby doesn't do that. She kind of does her own little like playing around with them to make it happen. Then we see a clip of Chrissy talking about like how Chloe had a solo once and Abby was in the wings telling her to be like Maddie. And Abby was like, why wouldn't I like to be like Maddie? I want to be Maddie. Just say it, man. Don't spray it. Then it moves on to talking about when Maddie and Chloe both competed against each other in season three with these solos. I can be anything. They show a clip that in this episode, Chloe wins. She wins first, Maddie wins second. And while they're behind the scenes, Abby comes in and she states that the judges found an issue and that Chloe actually did not beat Maddie. Maddie beat Chloe, so Chloe gave Maddie her award. And the moms are like, "Well, how did you know?" And Abby's like, "Oh, well, the judges just brought it to me." Now, if you're a real Dance Moms fan, you know who Max Z Boss is. Dance Moms Unedited, she goes through all the production notes and all of that. And this was one of the things that she researched, which found out that this competition, this scene actually was fake. Chloe did beat Maddie, but the show made it look like it wasn't what it was. And that brings me back to what they show in the clip, that the judge comes in and he's like, "Oh, here are the score sheets. Thank you, Abby, for bringing this to our attention." And so everybody in the room finds out that Abby just lied to them and said that the judges came to her, when in actuality, she went back to the judges and contested the win from Chloe. And at this point, I believe Chloe was still a part of her studio, season three. So Simpson asks Chloe if she thinks that Abby changed the scores, and Chloe says yes. And she's like, the rivalry at first really did push her, but after a certain point, it became very negative. I think I know why Abby has some feelings. Okay. Chloe states that it's taken her a long time to try and take back her narrative, but she's glad that she's doing it. And the girls lift her up and they're like, "Hey, you got this. Like, you're amazing." Kalani has a really good point. She points out the fact that the show should have just been about dance. It should have been about dance, and it shouldn't have not been about the drama between the moms or any of that stuff. And Kira agrees, and so do I. Next, we move on to Kelly, Brooke, and Paige Highland. And Stinson moves on to Brooke and Paige's relationship with Abby, and they show clips of Brooke and Paige and Kelly. Specifically, they talk about the fact that Kelly actually was a part of Abby's original competition team. Kelly ended up quitting dance, like right when she got to end of junior high school, which makes sense because she's into other things. And that's where Kelly's like, she feels that Abby holds that resentment towards her. So then they move on to the iconic Abby versus Kelly fight. Did you not just sit here and tell me that my daughter looks miserable, so maybe we should put Kalani in her place? No, I most certainly didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't, dingbat. I said, listen, Brooke, is your mother speaking for you? Get your finger out of my face. Girls out the room, girls out the room. So again, there was nothing new, like no new footage, no behind the scenes that was revealed about this fight. So Brooke is crying after seeing this clip, and she's very emotional, and she's like, after this fight happened, Paige and I never danced again. We never joined a dance team. We never went to a different studio. We didn't even dance for college. And Kelly's in the back, and she jumps on that, and she's like, my girl's relationship with dance just ended. Like, they didn't do anything, and I feel like it's my fault. And Kelly's very emotional during this reunion, and this is why I'm bringing up the whole them drinking champagne, because now they're relaxed, they're a little bit more loosened, and they're allowing those emotions to come out. So Jess asked Kelly if she could go back and change the fight and everything, would she? And Kelly says yes. Kelly does call out the fact that this whole fight happened because Chloe and Paige have been waiting for like they've been waiting for a serious, more mature duet, right? And Abby gave them Wishbone. Now, Wishbone at this particular competition got second place. The first place went to Maddie and Kalani with their duet called Two Sapphires. Abby created a situation, and not even Abby, the producers created a situation in which a physical altercation happened. That's what happened. They let that fight happen for a good 20, 30 seconds. And Kelly states that Abby wanted to win so badly that she put Maddie and Kalani against them. Now, here's what I believe. If Abby didn't put Maddie and Kalani in, Chloe and Paige would have won first place, right? That's just a given. My theory is that in season 4, the Highlands and the Lucasiacs were on contract for the show, meaning that they were there at Abby's studio to film the show and film the competitions. But Brooke, Paige, and Chloe were not a part of the Abby Lee Dance Company, meaning that they never signed her contract to be a part of her competition team when they're filming off the show. The other girls were. So, in a way, even if Chloe and Paige won, they would be winning that award for the show. They wouldn't be necessarily winning it and having it under, like, a feather in Abby's cap. But because Maddie is a member of the Abby Dance Company and Kalani took dances and she was probably going to be joining, she was already taking dances classes there. And this is a duet they just did at Jump or at Nuvo. That award and winning that competition would go into her cap. And I believe these competitions gave out cash prizes. So Abby would have got a part of that cash prize versus if Chloe and Paige won, she wouldn't have. So Stinson asked Brooke if she would like to know anything that Kira and Kalani knew about the situation. And Brooke states that she wants to know if Kalani knew that she was coming on the team to replace them. So Kalani gets called to the stage, but she's a little shaking in her boots. She's like, I don't know if I'm gonna go out there. But here comes Captain Save a 304, JoJo. And she's like, I'll go out there with you for support. Like, no one's gonna jump on you if I'm there. And JoJo, what are you gonna do? Hmm. So Kalani goes out there and she tells Brooke, she's like, hey, we were only meant to, like, I only came in to dance. Like, I was not there to replace anybody. Kalani states that Abby liked her. She liked Abby. And if Abby told her she was going to dance, she was going to dance. Now, in the back, Jess. Jess knows reality television. I'm telling you, she needs to go on like Celebrity Big Brother or something because she knows, okay? Jess reveals the tea about Abby's Ultimate Dance competition. But on this show, season 2, Maddie and Kinsey made an appearance on an episode. Now, if you watch Dance Mom season 3, the moms all state Abby invited all the girls to come out to California to be on Abby's Ultimate Dance competition. Now, the moms, Christy, Kelly, Holly, Jill, and Melissa, they all made a pact not to send their girls. They said, we're not sending the girls because Abby's not here at the studio doing her job. So why would we send our kids out there so that your your competition show can get viewership from our kids? Like, no. At the time, Abby was gonna make money off the kids anyway. Melissa sent Maddie and Kinsey to California, and they appeared on Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. Maddie actually did a solo. But Jess reveals that while they were on the show, Abby introduced Kalani to Maddie as her new duet partner. And this shocks both Jill and Kelly because they're like, wait, what? And now Kira doesn't necessarily like say this is true or not, but she throws the fire to Melissa. She says Melissa knew that Abby brought Kalani in to dance her duet with Maddie for the show and Nuvo. Christy stated that Melissa had told the moms that they weren't going to like her that day that they filmed for that episode. Kelly kind of is like, no, I still think the dance is the reason why. And Kira's like, I don't think dance is the reason why. And I agree with Kira. Like, it was Abby's treatment. It was the way that she was taking at Brooke. Kelly goes out on stage and she apologizes to Brooke and Paige. And she's like, I'm sorry that, this is what happened. Like, I never meant for this to happen. And Brooke and Paige are like, hey, like, it's cool. Like, we love you. You're our mom. Like, and Paige said something I thought was really cool. She was like, honestly, like, if it was me, I probably would have did something worse. And I was like, period, Paige, period. I felt like that was a great way to wrap up that chapter. So the girls all agree that all the times with Abby were amazing and it wasn't all bad. And I definitely agree. I think in the beginning, Abby was definitely an amazing choreographer, teacher. But I think that when Abby started making money, it kind of really did change her, along with the stress of filming. because she went from having this studio that kind of was doing okay to now she had a lot of more people, but now she had issues, more money, more problems, and she needed a financial accountant too. Hmm. Okay, so after that, they move on to Jill and my little Kendall Vertes. So Stinson brings up the fact that Abby had a very interesting relationship with Kendall and Jill, and so clips of Kendall and Jill are shown. So Kendall discusses how it took a long time for her and her mom to be accepted. She was on the bottom of the pyramid for a lot of times, and it took her a while to get her official ALDC jacket. Not to mention how, she was on a team with amazing dancers and she had to like step up to their level. Jill is in the background, and at this point, the moms have not like there's not a trade off. All the girls are still on the stage. Like the moms have not went up there or nothing. They're just in the back in the waiting room. And Jill complains the fact that the moms are not being nice, and Kelly's like, you came in like wanting everything that we had, but you didn't put in the work. And she's like, okay, but you still weren't nice. And basically, Jill came in guns blazing, and she wanted to have everything the moms had, but didn't put into work. Like she wanted Kendall to be on top of the pyramid, but she was dismissing the girls that were there. She was fine with Kendall being in a duet or a trio, despite other girls not being in duets or trios. I'm going to gloss over this one because Real Dance Moms fans know that this ain't true. So when Kendall was put on probation for the second time, Jill decides to leave, and she's like, "I'm gonna take Kendall somewhere where she can be appreciated." So what really happened was at this point in time, the moms had signed contracts, and Jill wanted to leave, but the producers were like, "Yeah, no, you can't leave." So they made her go film at Candy Apples. So I believe that Kendall was still taking dance classes at Abby's, but when the show needed her to appear with Jill, they went to Candy Apples. And I'm pretty sure the show probably paid for gas and stuff. But that was my theory. Okay. Then we see the iconic what um Kendall yelling at Ashley, who was Bryn's mom in season 6. Jill then comes out, and Jill actually gave some wonderful advice. She's like, you're going to be around people who you're not going to like, and you're going to have to learn how to navigate those people and still be yourself, which is true advice. I like it, Mama Jill. Wonderful advice, Mama Jill. So then Messy Stinson moves on to Kalani. And they talk about what stood out for her during her experience. And Kalani states that her mom, basically saying like how her mom handled the whole thing. And Kalani basically, she's like, I understand I was one of the favorites. And she talks about how it affected her life. Like, she had so much responsibility, but she also knows that she wasn't given like treatment like most of the other cast members. So clips of Kalani and Kira are shown. We see a clip of Liliana's mom, Stacy, talking about the fact when Abby was having a master class, Kalani was demonstrating something, and Abby was next to her, like, "Don't you just want to be Kalani? Like, look at her. Isn't she so pretty?" The way that she described Abby saying that, that's what I envisioned. And Kira comments that Abby only really liked her when Kira followed what Abby said and she listened to Abby. But when she started to like be like, okay, no, I don't like that, Abby was like, I don't like you. Then they show Abby and Kira's fight. So this fight all happened because at this point, I believe a lot was going on with Abby. She was still trying to find her studio. This is season 5. Abby gets emotional, and Kalani, Nia, and JoJo go to hug her, and Abby pushes those 3 away. But Hera was like, "You've never treated Kalani like this, and that's what you're not going to do." So Abby's like, "It has nothing to do with that, blah, blah, blah." Gianna is next to her, and she's kind of smirking, and she's kind of like, "This has," and she's like, "No." And Kira's like, "No, don't sit up here and laugh like it's funny. Like, you just push these girls away for what? Like, they also want to be there for you. They want to support you guys, but you guys are acting like a-holes." Kira tells Abby, and Gianna's grouped in there because she's with Abby, to go to hell. And Abby leaves the room and she's like, "Your child would rather be here with anybody else than you, sleeping with some man you're not even married to." Abby, you're not married. Abby really is out here being a hypocrite. You aren't married either, ma'am. I don't know anybody who want to wife her. This is where they show the clip of Abby walking back with her bra on, and I'm coming to get my stuff. Kendall's like, wait, this happened? But Brooke, Paige, and Chloe are like, wait, what? And they explained that Abby thought that they wouldn't film her. You can actually hear in the clip of people like, get the cameras off of her. But they still filmed her. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. So Kalani explains that after they filmed the whole show, they were done after season 7. That was when she really got to process everything that happened, and like she really fully like got like all the emotions hit her. And I wish they kind of really would have discussed more about that, like how it felt when the girls left the show versus when they were on the show, because that's kind of big transition they have to go through. Lastly, we get to the last mother daughter duo, Jess and JoJo. So Stinson moves on to JoJo, and he shows clips of JoJo and Jess. There's a clip of JoJo going to grab a costume, and Abby's being like, "No, you greedy little monster!" And JoJo, have you learned nothing? And in that situation, JoJo had interrupted a conversation between Abby and Gianna, and she didn't say "excuse me." JoJo agrees that she was disrespectful and rude. Like she should have said "excuse me" when they were talking. She should not have taken that costume when she was explicitly told not to be in the dance. But I think Jess told her to do that stuff. And she goes on to say that she thanks Abby for the harsh treatment and how she treated her, because when she's now in the industry in Hollywood, she's able to move around and things like that. Any press is good press. Hmm. And at this point, all the girls, as she's talking about Abby and giving her praise, all the girls look like they really don't care. They're just like, wow, interesting. To me, JoJo is like a prime example of just trauma repeating itself. And even she looks like she's going to repeat the cycle. I just feel bad for JoJo. Hopefully, maybe JoJo will, as she gets older and after her brain fully develops after 25, maybe she will realize the errors of her way and maybe she'll make a comeback. Right now, she's trying to take a blueprint page out of Miley Cyrus, and it's just not working. It's not working, boo, at all. She moves on to the fact that she really liked Dance Moms and she didn't want to leave, but Kendall clocked her tea. She said, "Well, if you don't want to leave, why'd you leave?" Hmm? JoJo reveals the reason why she left. So, in the episode of season 6 that JoJo left, her and Kendall were assigned a ballet duet, right? These girls were not taking ballet every single day. They were not taking technique classes. They had a whole season where they weren't taking technique classes. This ballet instructor had never worked with the girls. He didn't even know the girls' technique or anything. He was just choreographing a ballet duet. And JoJo was like, it didn't make us feel comfortable. Even Kendall was uncomfortable with it too. So I'm not saying Kendall was comfortable with it. But JoJo reveals that she got offered a talent contract with Nickelodeon. You're probably wondering, well, how did she sign the contract if she was on Dance Moms? Well, here's the real tea. Abby stated this, so take it with a grain of salt. Abby revealed on her podcast on YouTube years ago that the girls and the moms have filming contracts, right? And when you film in different states, you have to get them processed through the court systems. But when they got to California in season 6, the moms' contracts were legally processed while the girls' contracts were still being in the process of being legalized. Meaning that the beginning of season 6, them girls did not have to film at all. They didn't have no obligation to the show. Their moms did, but the girls didn't. Now that's what Abby said. But I believe that Jess took advantage of that. So that's why they were able to leave the show and JoJo was able to sign the contract. Now, Jess states that she was the one that pulled JoJo from the show and she didn't want to go and she made her sign the contract. Now, I believe this is half is true. I believe that JoJo did get the deal for Nickelodeon. That's true because she was all over Nickelodeon for a long time. I think because JoJo had the success of her Boomerang video, which has billions of views right now, not to mention she had her YouTube channel and her character Paula, and the craze because all little girls wanted to wear bows like JoJo and that high ponytail, Nickelodeon saw that they could make a lot of money from her and they offered her a deal. I think Jess sat down with JoJo and she gave her the honest truth. She's like, hey, we can stay on Dance Moms, or we could take this opportunity that just came into our lives, and we could do better with our lives, right? And in that point, I don't blame Jess. This is what JoJo wanted to do. This is what Jess wanted JoJo to do. If they're out in California to audition and get roles and stuff in a big network like Nickelodeon is offering you a deal, so I think after that sit down, that talk, they both wanted to do it, and they left Dance Moms. And Simpson asks Chloe, has she forgiven Abby? And again, Chloe states that she's in the process of forgiving Abby. And that was a really good response. Paige wishes that she could sit down with her and just have a wonderful conversation. Then it transitions to showing Abby going through her health treatments, her cancer treatment, her health scares. And I did not like this. I felt like this was a way to emotionally manipulate the girls into feeling bad for Abby because they were all emotional seeing Abby, right? And JoJo again was being Captain Save a 304, and she's like, well, the girls, you guys are emotional because, you had a good relationship with Abby. It's almost like JoJo's trying to be narrator, but we don't need a narrator. Personally, as I was watching this, not one tear came from my eye, not one, no. I don't feel bad for Abby. She's receiving the karma for how she treated those girls and other dancers and what she didn't do right by that money. That's why all this is happening to her. That's why her health took a dive. And currently right now she has that little studio with the costume shop in that one dance room. She doesn't even own her Pittsburgh studio anymore. It's a bus transportation center. And she's doing Zoom classes. So where is this amazing dance mogul, this person that was going to have this dance empire? It's gone. And it makes me upset because Abby keeps talking sugar honey iced tea about dance moms and this is why my life isn't going the way they didn't pay me, the moms, the girls, blah blah blah, when in actuality she's not taking accountability for anything that she did. You filed for bankruptcy. You knew that you had to tell the court your updated income. You didn't do that. You took your anger out on the mothers with the kids. Now, the moms asked Kelly that if Abby would apologize, does she think that she would have a relationship with Abby? And Kelly says that, yeah, like if Abby would apologize, I think we could move on and like build a relationship. And I doubt that she will ever take accountability for what she put you and your children through. So then Messy Stinson moves on to Christy versus JoJo. So Christy versus JoJo. So basically what happened was a couple years ago, Christy was doing a Zoom call with a bunch of college people or whatever, and she was asked about whether she has what was her take or whether she has a relationship with choreographer Gianna. And Christy said that she did not have a relationship and Gia was not the nicest to her. Now, this was on a private Zoom call that got put on TikTok by some messy fans. And JoJo came in, and can you guess what she came in dressed as? If you guessed Captain Save a 304, you were right. So she came in and she basically like was calling out Christy. She was like, Christy, you're not the nicest person, and G is amazing, and blah 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 blah. Now, what they don't show during this reading is that Christy actually did a response to JoJo, where Christy states like she apologizes. She's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Like, if you had a great experience with Gia, that's wonderful. I'm just sad that my experience wasn't like yours." Now, JoJo at the reunion, Christy's not here to defend herself. But JoJo stands 10 toes down. She's like, well, I'd do it again. Like, I still think what I said was right. And I felt bad for Chloe in this moment because they had Chloe come in defending her mom. Christy's a grown woman. If y'all wanted to have this topic, have it when Christy's here. But Chloe's response was great, though. Chloe tells JoJo, like, hey, like, just the way that you just explained how you felt, that's what my mom felt. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I personally felt like this didn't need to be in the reunion. What was the point? Christy was not here physically to defend herself. And why have Chloe fight her mom, her grown mother's issues? Now they move on to discussing when Abby went to jail. So the moms and the girls discuss, Abby going to jail, what she went to jail for, and they show that Abby went to jail for bankruptcy fraud. So she filed right before the show was even concepted. So she got the show, her income changed. She never told the court that her income changed. The reason why is because she would have to pay back the vendors and the loaners their money, which is what she wasn't doing. If Abby was actually smart, she would have paid off anything that she had so she had money to do what she really wanted to do. But again, Abby didn't have a financial advisor. And from what she has explained, her dad did a lot of the finance stuff, which at that point, her dad should have put her in on that. Like, come on now. Like, at least when I talk with my dad, we talk about finance all the time. So the girls joke about the fact that maybe Abby was making pyramids in prison. Jill is in the back of the within the rating room with the moms, and she reveals that the moms are actually concerned for Abby at that point, and they were trying to tell Abby to take it more seriously because she was a high profile person, and they're like, but in Jill's words, she was her worst enemy. This also did not need to be in this reunion because nothing is addressed other than the moms and the girls making fun of Abby. Like nothing was addressed. Nothing was talking about, why do you think Abby went through this? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing was discussed. So another waste of space. Perception of the cast. So the girls discussed how the viewers saw them, especially when it came to the pyramid. And moments from the show are shown, such as Paige forgetting her dance, then Paige was on the bottom of the pyramid, Chloe forgetting her dance, and Chloe was on the bottom of the pyramid. And while this is happening, JoJo's in the background. She's like, poor baby. Like, nobody asked you for your input. Um, and interestingly, they show Maddie forgetting her solo, even though she wasn't even there. Weird. And they even included when Abby was in the audience crying. And my favorite Christy quote, and Abby is there crying. Let's see. Paige forgot her solo. Abby didn't cry. Chloe forgot her solo. Abby didn't cry. Nia forgot her solo. Abby didn't cry. Maddie forgets her solo, and it's waterworks. Period. So the girls discuss forgetting a solo, and Kalani is like, hey, like we all have forgotten dances, like it happens, like, but with the right positive reinforcement, you can really rebound from that. Here comes JoJo, and she tries to cheer Paige up by stating, like, hey, but for viewers, when we saw you at the bottom, you were like the underdog, and we were really rooting for you, and blah, blah, blah. Again, JoJo, it doesn't, I don't know if you think it sounds inspirational. It doesn't. So the girls give their thoughts about uplifting each other. There's a cute little moment. It was cute. JoJo fake proposes to Kalani, and then Kalani's like, "Yeah, like you're rich. I'll marry you." And JoJo's like, "Yeah, you're not my type." And Kalani states that she wants to marry JoJo, like she would. And Kalani, I don't blame you. Get to the bag, sis. I'm all for getting to the bag. Get to the bag. So this next section is about Chloe's confidence, and Messy Simpson asked Chloe to discuss how did she get her confidence. And mainly to me, it was more so like they were trying to address when Chloe had came out that she was dating her girlfriend. And I feel like this section could have been better if they really just talked about the fact that some of the girls on Dance Moms are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. They didn't. So Chloe talks about, what it felt like to do, like to come out and all of those things. And mind you, in the background, in the waiting room, Kelly's like, I can't say anything because Christy didn't want me to talk about it. And my mind just goes back to the beginning of this reunion when Christy specifically said Melissa didn't want the girls to talk about her kids. The pot calling the kettle black there. And I think after a while, Christy kind of was like, you know what? It's my child. Like, I cannot keep on imparting what I want for her onto her. I have to accept that this is who she is. And either I can be with it and she can be in my life, or I don't do it, and she's just not going to be a part of my life. So Chloe defends her mom, and she's like, I think she was just worried about how this news would, how people would perceive this news. But from what I remember, Chloe received a lot of positive feedback. Like I know I was like very happy for her. My issue again is that I wish they would have talked a little bit, or not even talked, but included JoJo and Jess, because I would have liked to see like what it was for them, for their experience too with it. And I would have loved to hear JoJo and Chloe talk about the stigma around women who are interested in other women. Like that would have been a great topic, and how, in the dance world, we talk about a lot of the boys being gay, but we don't talk about like the potential that there are girls out there that have these feelings, and that's okay. Same as there's boys who are gay in dance, there's boys who are not gay in dance, and all of that. So I think it would have been a great conversation, but it didn't go anywhere. Then this was interesting. Christy had a pre-recorded message for Chloe. It was cute, but again, like I mentioned, I feel that it was very funny and the pot calling the kettle black for Christy to not want to discuss or have Kelly discuss this certain topic, but when Melissa says that she doesn't want her kids to be addressed, it's a problem. Now we move on to the group dances, and the girls begin to discuss certain group dances and how impactful they were. Now, mind you, they don't talk about solos, they don't talk about duets or trios. Hmm, interesting. But Paige says that her favorite dance or group dance that she did was The Last Text. And she states that it's such a powerful message. And it's the reason why she doesn't drive and she's on her phone now. Like she doesn't do that. Like because she's reminded of that dance. And I agree with her. Like when I was younger, I always liked that dance. I was like, that's a cool dance. But when I watched it on this reunion, I really was hit with the reality of that dance. The fact that in the original version, Paige is just sitting there, right? And Paige said, she had to sit there until Maddie touched her and then she fell over. And Abby even explains this, like she explained this. But the fact that while everybody else is dancing on stage, while they're moving, your eyes are like going back and forth to the girls and Paige. Like you're like, okay, what's Paige doing? What's Paige doing? And when she falls, whew, it's the realization that she was already dead in the dance. Like, because I drive and I commute, and you would not believe how many people drive and are on their phones. Honestly, they probably need to play that dance during driver's ed classes. Ooh, you'll be surprised how many high schoolers will understand that dance. But some other dances were shown that had powerful messages, such as the Rosa Parks dance, the Freedom at Last dance, um, the dance they did about Hurricane Katrina, the dance about living with the ribbon. So Abby has had very impactful dances, and this is what's crazy because Abby does have amazing mindset. She does have a beautiful detail. So then Stinson moves on to S Hotline, but Kalani gets triggered and she leaves the stage. JoJo goes to support her, which 100% like JoJo did the right thing. And the other girls, Kendall was like, okay, should we go? And I like that Chloe said no because we might overwhelm her. That's not something that she needs right now. So love that. Um, I do wish that they should have gave like a quick little brief trigger warning. And I'm gonna try not to cry during this part because I cried while watching the reunion. But Kira comes from the waiting room and goes into the bathroom where Kalani is. Now, before that happens, Jojo goes up to the door and she's like, "Hey, if you need me, I'm outside the door." Kalani's like, "I need you." It was such a good friendship between them, and I love that. So Kira comes in, and at first I was wondering why Kira wasn't so like emotional. She was just very bland to the point. And then I was like, you know what? She doesn't want to overwhelm Kalani. This is where Kalani herself reveals that she has used the hotline. And this shocked me because from what I see from her online, she seems so positive, so confident, so within herself that I would not have expected to hear this from her. it's a reminder that sometimes the people that are smiling the most can be the people that are hurting deep inside. So Kendall explains the dance to Brooke, Paige, and Chloe, and she's like, we did this dance. We actually had the people who work at this hotline come in and they explain how it worked, um, and why the message was so important to the girls. And then the dance is played to Brooke, Paige, Chloe, and Kendall. Um, Again, JoJo, Kira, and Kalani are in the bathroom. And Kira's like, you knew this was coming up. Like, are you okay? She's like, I didn't like. It's like just because you know something is coming up doesn't mean that you can process it and deal with it right away. But Kalani comes out and she tells the girls, that she's used this number and it's been a struggle dealing with negative emotions from herself and thoughts. Kalani and all the girls are beautiful, and I want Kalani to know, like, you're more than just your looks. She sounds like she's a fantastic dance instructor. She's a wonderful older sister to three younger siblings. And I'm pretty sure her mother, Kira, is 100% proud of her eldest child. So now let's get into the final curtain call. So the moms come out for the finale and they all commend the girls for the ones who showed up. They are proud of them for starting this reunion and finishing. And Stinson is like, hey, so what are you girls doing in the nearby future? So Paige says that she wants a husband and she wants money. Brooke says that she doesn't know, but she hopes it's something good. As of now, Brooke is actually engaged, so congratulations to Brooke. Chloe reveals that she wants to stay involved with the dance world, but do it in a way that promotes positivity. And so she reveals that she started her dance company or her dance competition, Elevate National Dance Competition, along with her mom, Christy, and Brittany Penn. Kendall says that she is on track to be graduating from college with a political science and pre-law degree, and she thinks she may become a dance mom in the future. But JoJo states that she is currently working on 23 songs. Obviously, we know one of them. And in the next 5 years, she wants a 5-year-old. Ma'am, you're 20. Kalani says that she's focusing on being a mental health advocate. She has a care line or a line of self care called Care by Kalani, and she wants to be rich or married to JoJo. As they're getting ready to like wrap up everything, the girls leave the stage. The producers decide to play Boss Ladies. Hands up in the air, put your hands up in the. And Kendall starts doing the dance. I think Kalani joins in, JoJo joins in, but this was interesting because they were the only ones that knew this dance. So they had Brooke, Page, and Chloe looking awkward and like clowns because they were in the background, like they didn't know the dance. Personally, I think they should have used the get up, get on the floor, or the dance mom theme, get up, get on the floor. My world is with my girl. Like they could have used that because that's what everybody knows, and they could have wrapped it out that way. But they all hug, and that's the ending of the Dance Moms reunion. Let's get on to my final thoughts. So I'm going to start with the positives, and then I'll do some negatives, and then I'll do what I think should have changed. So the positives. It was good to have Kelly, Brooke, and Paige finally get some closure. I really hope that this begins to fully close the chapter of their life and gets them to moving on to their lives. Something that I didn't mention earlier was Kelly actually blames the way that she left Dance Mom and the fact that she had to go to court for something that actually ruined her marriage. Kelly is divorced. Her and her husband are not together anymore. And I think Kelly even says like if this never happened, she doubts that this would have happened. She doubts that she would be divorced. So I'm glad that they were able to come here, close this chapter, and get some sort of closure for themselves. Chloe finally learning about Abby's wicked ways and admitting that, while she has not fully forgiven her, she's ready to start the process is very important for Chloe because she really needed to understand like this had nothing to do with you. Like it had everything to do with Abby. I want to commend Kalani. Kalani was so brave and she was being truthful, raw, and honest. And I hope that she realizes that there are a lot more people that are fans and supportive of her than those haters and jealous fans. Um, Abby has an amazing talent for conceptualizing, choreographing dances, as shown by like the two dances we saw that were very emotionally impactful, The Last Text and S Hotline. Um, and like I mentioned earlier, I thought about The Last Text and realized that by Paige not moving in a dance, throughout this whole dance, Paige was already dead. Right? The music changes. She's just in. Knowing that when you look back at the dance, you look at it with different lenses because it's like this whole time she was driving the car, she's gone. Everybody else is flying out of the car, da da da. And it makes the ending so much more powerful and it leaves the viewer with a weight. Another PSA announcement. Please do not text, phone call, or hold your phone and look at social media while you're driving. Okay? A split second can literally change your life and someone else's. Do not risk it for a single glance at a screen that you can look at when you're parked and not moving. Now let's move on to the negatives. That doesn't seem like a lot of positives. It wasn't. So this whole opening drama between who came, who didn't was not needed. Holly, Nia, Melissa, Maddie, and Kinsey, they have all stated how grateful they are for the show and the opportunity that is brought. They do not need to continue to praise this show. They don't. That would be like me saying, oh, I'm grateful for all the teachers that I've had. And then I continue to keep on reiterating how grateful I am for all the teachers I've had when they already know that I've said it. Does it make sense? No. Christy's comments, the way the moms were even agreeing and throwing Melissa under the bus, even the way that Kendall, Kalani, and JoJo was like acting during this section really left a sour taste in my mouth. It seems like they're all bitter and upset. They're mad that these people aren't here, but you're discussing them. And let's throw a hypothetical out there. Let's say these cast members did come and they talk, and they're not going to talk about the microaggression and semi racism that Nia faced or implicit biases that she faced. They're not going to do it. So that's dud. Even if they did come, it would have been like, oh, it's all about Maddie. It's always about Maddie. It's all about Maddie. It's always about the Ziegler girls. So they can't win and they can't lose. And I want to clock how they never really talked about Nia, even though she was also someone that wasn't there. They majority of the time kept it on Melissa and Maddie and Kinsey, who's living their best lives. Now, on terms of Melissa and Christy, they both have done and said some very out of pocket things, and they have to live with that. They have to live with what they did to protect their kids. And I'm all for parents doing what they have to protect their children. And if you think you're doing what's right for your child, you have to stand by that decision. But leave the kids out of it. The kids had nothing to do with it, and them, the kids are not the reason y'all are upset. I think Melissa and Christy really just need to have a private conversation and really just talk. Really just talk. Because that's all it is. Because at this point, it's like half the fandom is like, why y'all fighting? The half the fandom is like, fight, 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 fight. And at this point, they're grown women. And just like I said, they thought what they were doing was protecting the best interests of their child or children. Leave it alone at that. Captain Save a 304, JoJo, was getting on my nerves. Like, she was only there for 1.5 seasons, but she was acting as if she was there from day one. Now, her supporting Kalani, that was a highlight for me. I should put that in the positive. But that's a positive. Okay. But her drama with Christy was weird. It didn't need to be in there. The fact that they had Chloe trying to defend it, and her in the beginning of it, Christy gave her a compliment. You thanked her, and then later in the reunion, you go on to kind of like double down on what you said. Like, does that make sense? Doesn't make sense to me. Um, They never broke the fourth wall. They never really talked about anything outside of filming. It was as if they were stuck in a box. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that I felt like was really picked apart was the Abby judging thing and JoJo leaving for a Nickelodeon deal. That was the only thing. And they never really picked that apart. Um, Messy, Brian Stinson, is a joke. Like, you could see him sitting on the side. He never showed his face or anything, but you were there for most of these drama moments. You know the behind the scenes stuff, so why aren't you talking about it? I'm surprised that he has not dropped a Dance Moms behind the scenes podcast. Oh, let me not speak so soon, because what if he does to monopolize on it? Gosh. But he was a lot of the cause for the reason that the moms went through. The production company, the producers, they all were involved on everything that happened to the moms, but also the girls, and nobody addressed it. Like nobody addressed it. Um, Abby behind the scenes did give some feedback, but again, she doesn't take accountability, so I don't really listen to anything that she says. The moms sat in the waiting room the whole time unless they came out to do a little speaky here. There was never a moment where the reunion shifted to just the moms. The show is called Dance Moms. Yes, the girls were a very important part of it, but the moms were the focal point. That's why people were watching for the drama. And the moms only came out to offer support or they allowed their girls to speak their truth, which I think is important. Like, allow the kids to speak their truth. Like, that's 100% important. This is how I think this reunion should have worked. Because if you go on Lifetime, the website, they have season 9 listed as the reunion and then the cliporama with Christy. This should have been broken apart in different parts. They should have part one be the girls, part two be the moms, part three be everybody. Okay. Um, I think they should have had the moms and daughters together and then brought them together and mixed. This should have been learning about new information that the fans can't Google or go on Reddit or watch Max Z Boss for. They should have been breaking the fourth wall. We should have been having never before seen clips of things. And we really should have been having an honest dialogue. The whole point of this was for us to really see what was going on, to hear what was going on, to know what was going on. It was produced. This was a produced fanfare where nothing that deep that the fans didn't know or couldn't learn from Max Z Boss again or gone to Reddit and learn was discussed. Now, I have a real reason why this reunion was pitched. Okay. A couple months ago, or a year ago, I started listening to Abby's podcast at first because I just was interested and I wanted to see what she was going to say. And Abby had Brian Stinson, as she calls him, Satan on there himself. And he stated that he's in the process of wanting to bring back Dance Moms with the new cast and everything, right? And he wanted to bring it back with a new season, new moms, new dancers. Abby might be involved with it. She might not. Who knows? She's on Brandon TV right now. Um, and here's why it's not going to work. Here's why it's not going to work. Dance Mom at its core consisted of a few things. Abby and her relationship with the moms and their relationship with Abby, the girls. Through those three things, did the audience get invested? Oh, Abby talks to her moms like that? Other parents could relate because at this point, competition dance was hot. It still kind of is. It's fizzled out a little bit, but it still kind of is. The moms, you could relate to being a mom when you're yelling at your kid's coach or your kid's teacher because they're not doing something right. And the girls, they're kids. They were cute, adorable kids. That's what we wanted to see. It was raw and the emotions were real, right? So everything that, the tears, the crying, those were real moments, right? And in reality TV, when those happen, it makes a difference. It makes you love the characters. It makes you root for those characters. It makes you go like, wow, who would do that? Right? Like it makes you question those choices that the moms make. This is why season 8 didn't work out. These kids and these moms knew what they were signing up for. They knew what they were getting into. They knew that they were coming on a show to do this. That's why a lot of people was like, we like the kids are great dancers, but we don't, the drama was just too produced. It wasn't natural. That's why dance moms work. These women have been at this studio for years. They knew the ins and outs. They knew Abby had her favorites. They knew this and that. They knew all of that. That's why it worked. Do I really think that a healthy and positive mother daughter, mother son, father son relationship pair would sign up for a new show unless they're money slash fame hungry to come and put up with disrespectful producers, somewhat decent salary, and if Abby's there, a dance teacher who just is gonna pick her favorites, argue, do all that, no, I don't think any sane person's gonna do that. And I think with the fact that there's a lot of research now being looked into about kids being on reality television. Just look at the kids on K+8. Look at the kids who are on all these reality shows. Toddlers and Tiaras. Look at where a lot of these kids are. A lot of them are fine, but a lot of them are not okay. A lot of them have a lot of mental health issues. A lot of them socially have issues. A lot of them are not even cool with their parents like that. So we're seeing that this reality TV thing, as entertaining as it was, at what cost did our entertainment do to the people that were involved with this? At what cost are we being entertained by watching someone go through something traumatic? What's that doing to us as viewers? How desensitized are we to that? I watch a show called Baddies on Zeus, and at this point, like, I'm watching it because th- there's no reason. I'm even confused why I watch it. The whole premise is for them to show being boss women, getting to the bag, but all they do is fight and argue every single week. And part of me, there's a sliver of me that's like, maybe they'll do something fun. Maybe they'll do something that shows that they are grown women and they're about, their business. And every week I'm proven wrong. But I go back. Just like when people watch reality TV, we go back because we're rooting for people. We want to see the good. We want to see the bad. We want to see the ugly. Overall, this reunion was just a fanfare. It could have been so much better. And I believe that the moms and girls who were involved with this really did get closure. And that's all that I care for them. Brian Simpson, I don't think you're going to have an easy shot bringing Dance Moms back. Not to mention you brought back most of the original cast and the people who are on the show. I don't think anybody's gonna watch it or think it's gonna be good. You might get a few viewerships, but I don't think he's going to catch lightning in the bottle, which is what he's trying to do. As I mentioned earlier, those three factors, the fact that they were all intertwined made sense. How are you going to take people from different studios and intertwine them? You can't. You're going to have to find a studio. And at that point, what studio is going to want to go through what Abby went through? Abby already exposed the fact that she didn't have a studio life when the show was filming. So what studio is going to want to risk their business to satisfy you and viewers? Okay. Now, with that being said, let me know your thoughts about the reunion, positive and negative. Like, how'd you guys feel? Did you like it? Was it entertaining? Like, were you living for it? Do you wish it was more? I know there's other people that have did videos too. Go watch those videos, get their viewpoints too. Like, there's enough bread for everybody on this platform. So go and support anyone who is talking about this reunion right now. Okay. With that being said, also, if you are someone who likes RuPaul's Drag Race, you can go and watch my season 16 review and recaps. I will have the playlist linked down below. But it is also on my channel. I review the whole season, and I actually like this season. It was my favorite. Or not my favorite, but it's up there in like my top seasons that I really like. Season 6 is my favorite, but this one's like up there. It was really good. Um, I am currently working on a few videos. I'm working on an Avatar The Last Airbender video. I have my notes, I just have not formulated it. I'm also starting to work on the CW's The Flash, which I saw YouTube clips for and have gotten back into. Sorry. But make sure you keep an eye out for those videos. They'll be posted. They'll probably be posted sometime in the end of June because I'm wrapping up my school year, so I'm going to be really busy. If you guys don't know, I'm a teacher, so I'm wrapping up the school year. Summertime's almost here. And make sure you hit that like button because it helps. The like button. Make sure you comment. I would love to just have discussions with you guys. Like I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Come on, let's comment. And if you would like to see more of me and watch more of my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.